Welcome to a new daily top Askreddit video. Today's topic: what do you consider the biggest threat to humanity? Short-term, geopolitics. Long-term, oceanic eco collapse. I like this answer. We could destroy ourselves at any moment. All we need is an idiot with power, and we have a massive surplus of that. But if we manage to somehow avoid that, environmental collapse is within the next 250 years. Full oceanic collapse is projected to be in 2048. That shit is a lot more serious and more rapidly approaching than most people think. Edit, for everyone becoming militant and blowing me up with rude seaspiracy comments. I was referring mainly to a 2006 article from National Geographic. https://www.google.com/amp/s. Since the National Geographic source I was referring is quite dated. Other editors in the comments have referred me to share this source directly from the IPCC for more up-to-date information on the current state of global climate/oceanic assessments. https://report/ar6/wg1/#SPM. Thanks to our fine Reddit community and some of our not-so-fine community, I've been enlightened to more recent studies that show more up-to-date information than the 2006 Nat Geo article and the Seaspiracy Netflix documentary. This article highlights the 2006 study and the discrepancies of the Netflix doc. https://www.shearsealet.com. Ocean ecosystems collapsing. The rate of which the populations of fish have decreased are alarming, with common fish like tuna decreasing by 97% in the past few decades, due to overfishing. Coral reefs dying, fish getting extinct. It's all because of us, and it'll come back to haunt us, and it already is. The oceans contain 85% of all life on Earth, and yet we let these big companies throw one garbage truck full of trash into them every single minute. I imagine the oceans will be completely dead by 2070 or before, if it continues the way it is. Ocean plankton is dying fast too. People don't realize that is a big source of oxygen for the planet. Also, forests are producing more CO2 than oxygen now, since half of them are literally on fire. On fire because humans set them on fire to clear land for farming. It's important to clarify that they didn't just spontaneously combust. It's beef and soy farmers in Brazil, for example, who are setting these fires. There was an article in a popular news company recently that had the same headline, but the cause of the fires wasn't until the third or fourth paragraph, and IMO that needed to be in the headline instead of masking and protecting the farmers and government allowing them to do so. Apathy. I was going to say humans. But you're right. It's apathy. Most humans just don't give a damn until they're personally suffering. Then suddenly something matters. We're going to ruin every wonderful thing we have by not giving a damn until it's too late. I noticed something the other day. I care about people, I don't want anyone to suffer, but I don't really think about caring about something until I actually see something that needs to be changed and cared about. I started wondering, if we cared before we noticed we needed to care, maybe we'd be better off. Like, instead of being complacent until we see something that is wrong, if we chose to actively care all the time, maybe we would notice more things and could prevent them. Just random thoughts that enter my mind. It's a tragedy. And boredom is a crime. The world is fine. The people are fucked. George Carlin. This is what? Earth 6 to 11th mass extinction event. It will be fine again in 300,000 years or something. Everything seems to be turning into crabs with Kashiatio. Maybe the crab people will have a better time with the whole industrial society thing than we did. Gonna be hard for them since we've used most of the oil and stuff, but we might all die from climate disasters before the oil is all gone, so good for crab people. Good luck, guys. Stupid people. So, just humanity. Only like 85% of humanity. Removed. Ultro was online for 3 minutes before he learned humanity's greatest threat was itself. It only needed a split second to determine that. Short-sightedness and selfishness. Most people can't project forward/contemplate more than a decade or so in the future, let alone several generations past their own lives. I think this is part of the reason why religions first came to be, as a way to encourage a lifestyle that made sure you left the world in a better place / had a positive impact on your community and future generations. Human selfishness and ego has always been an issue. The only difference is that now there's so many of us and we're so advanced and interconnected that our selfishness is putting the future of all civilizations at risk. I agree and would like to add that we each have to take part in making better communities. Stop buying things we do not need, reduce, reuse and recycle, look after each other as best we can, otherwise expect more of the same. Antibiotic-resistant bacteria. You should look into bacteriophage therapy if you're not familiar. Essentially using viruses to kill pathogenic bacteria. It's been around for like 80 years, but it's never really been seriously researched because we always just used antibiotics to fight infections. The good thing is in the last year we learned that people deal well with pandemic restrictions and trust scientists, nothing to worry about. Scientist, don't do this or it will kill you. Dumbass, but my rights. Dies. I got my PhD studying infectious bacteria and used to develop new antibiotics in biopharma. It's really hard and most pharma companies completely shut down their bacteriology, and many, virology as well, departments over the last 5 to 10 years because there's no money in it. Eventually even things like minor surgery will be life-threatening due to infection. So are you saying since they won't fund the research so we won't find another way, or it's just gonna happen anyway as the way things are? How long is eventually? World leaders with big egos and nuclear weapons. They could also have bad intel, and trust it. The fact that we have averted Armageddon multiple times simply because someone decided they didn't trust their intel that was telling them the other side was attacking is scary. https://wikipedia.org/wiki. This list is uncomfortably long. I sometimes think about this. Imagine Kim Jong-un is secretly suicidal, wakes up one day going you know what? Fuck humanity and all those fat jokes. And just takes us all out with him. Right. Imagine a kid that would commit a school shooting, and now give him nukes. Yikes. Mississippi. From all the information I've recently seen, I'd agree. It's big news how bad the state is. But at least it has a song for how to spell it correctly. I don't know where all this sudden hate for Mississippi came from, but I agree. Incompetent / malicious leadership. Most problems listed in this thread stem from that issue. Crab people. Can confirm. Our / username checks out. Ignorance. Willful manipulation of ignorance. It's not just that there are dumb people, it's that smart but evil people are intentionally inundating them with propaganda designed to keep them proudly ignorant. And willful ignorance. People who know that something isn't quite right, but actively choose to ignore it to the point of denying it. Cherry-picking research that validates what they choose to believe. Edited to say isn't. Climate change. We're going to have massive problems in my life. I dread to think what kind of world my kids will be living in when they're grown up. Edit. Lots are asking why I would have kids. Rather than respond to each of them, I'll answer you all here. Our kids weren't born yesterday. We decided to have kids about 6 to 7 years ago. Back then, Donald Trump was a reality TV host and businessman. The US might flip between Democrat and Republican, but both were fairly centrist, by USA standards. Jair Bolsonaro was climbing his way up to power and I'd never heard the name. He's now burning more rainforest than anyone ever before. Boris Johnson was the clown mayor of London and there was no way he'd get near actual power. The EU referendum was on the way, but there was no way the UK would vote leave. The latest IPCC report was that some warming would happen, but if we all took notice now we could limit warming to around 1 to 1.5 degrees. Eco-diesels were a thing. I bought one based on the lower carbon emissions. Seriously, fuck you VW and any other car manufacturers who have done similar things. Everyone should watch the Dirty Money episode about the emissions scandal, it's on Netflix. The world isn't angry enough about this. Offshore wind had become cheaper per kilowatt hour than nuclear. We were on the cusp of a green energy revolution. The world really has gone to shit in the last few years. Mildly surprised I had to scroll to find this. The answer sunk due to rising sea levels. Unfortunately, lots of younger generations are forced with the dilemma of whether or not it's even right or ethical to have kids in this day and age. I'm 21 now. I honestly can't think of any good reason to have a child in the near future. The Asiatalism is running deep in me. We keep saying that we need to work together, find common ground, but there's only one ground. And it's on fire. And too many people don't give one crap. The outdated education system that produces brainless, unmotivated people with no desire to learn on their own. Maybe not an apocalypse, but outdated education is a much bigger problem than people think. Everyone remembers school sucked, but nobody cares because they're behind it and it doesn't affect them anymore. Meanwhile, education is an enormously important thing, because it affects how everybody thinks. Education system, these students never self-motivate. Also the education system, you can't teach motivation. Caesar, wash his hands.